Welcome to the Business Information Buffet Podcast, also known as the BIB Podcast, where everybody eats, powered by the College of Southern Nevada. Each week, we'll be featuring business owners and entrepreneurs that will provide their personal recipes for business, powerful conversations, and knowledge of the business world. We amplify the stories of various backgrounds, cultures, and expertise. Our self-identity is as diverse as our social community. We cultivate a community of like-minded individuals that share their different perspectives, broadening our worldview. Are you ready? This is the BIB Podcast, where everybody eats.
Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready?
Welcome back to the Business Information Buffet Podcast, also known as the BIB Podcast, where everybody eats, under the operation at the College of Southern Nevada here at the North Las Vegas campus for another impactful, sensational, and driven episode. I am your host, Sean Tory, with our DJ Icebreak.
DJ Icebreak.
Today's episode is called Art Therapy with a real special guest. Like, I'm talking about a real pillar in our community, a legend, an OG of mine, the Curtises, coming both out of the Alpha Men and Divas of Tomorrow. Okay, I forgot what phase you came out. What phase? I forgot. We're gonna ask about that question. What phase you came out of? But our guest today is a Las Vegas native, a pillar in our community. This dynamic individual fell in love with the art at a young age and has made art a catalyst for making difference for those around him. In 2019, he founded Art Therapy for kids with autism. Talk about a brother that's special, man. This nonprofit program focuses on children with autism and uses art as a way to improve communication and self-expression. Our guest also makes time to create custom pieces for celebrity clients and influential brands, and as well as a true investor and entrepreneur within the city. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, the artist, the philanthropist, the community man with the plan, Mr. Courtney Haywood, ladies and gentlemen, what's going on, good sir?
Appreciate it, man. I love what you all doing here, and this is very needed.
Thank you, bro. We got to represent for the opportunity. We got to talk about the businesses that's out here, right? Like outside of the strip. Like folks go to the strip, but they don't come to Vegas.
No,
you know. So please tell the folks about yourself, good sir.
Well, it's a lot of facets to me, but most of all, I'm a good person, and I love my community and my people. That's my core, belief system and everything I do.
Man, and this brother right here, he's very humble and always in the background. But we blessing for this guy right here, right? He came out of the Alpha Men and Divas of Tomorrow, just like myself and Curtis. And what phase did you come out of?
I think I was in phase 8 or something like that.
Jeez.
Yeah, I was, it was something I always wanted to do. It's a great program for, the youth. It kept us, together, honestly. It taught us a lot about community service. So I'm grateful for, Alpha forming that, Men's and Divas of Tomorrow.
Yeah, like real talk, I think most of us who came out that youth group, you see a lot of them are very, very active. We're still the same folks who are very active in the community.
Definitely.
And a huge shout out to the frat, because I ended up dead pledging. So it's just big. That was something like they changed my life, bro. Save mine.
Definitely, that's big, man. It's I love it. I love the whole culture of it. Even to in our phase, they took us. We went on a college tour, and they took us to Houston, to Texas and stuff like that. And it's ironic, going back and actually having a ranch and stuff in Texas. It's just
talk about it.
It's like I say, it changed the mind,
So I was actually gonna ask that. So how did you go from being a kid from the West Side, from the North, from Vegas, and then now you opened Artism for kids who have autism, and you express your art through there, help them make self-expression, to investor, to owning a ranch in Texas. Come on, man. Talk about that.
Well, growing up in Vegas, it's a different city, because I like to call it the island, because you have a place that's been created in the middle of the desert, filled with people from all over. They come there, they mostly came there to work, to keep the city running. And what's you know, people say Vegas don't have culture. Really, Vegas is a melting pot of cultures.
Yes,
so
I
it's
agree.
like it's constantly changing and looking for identity, and it's a young city. So, you know, me growing up on the West Side, you know, I was able to get a sense of, you know, community. I was, you know, a lot of people don't know that the West Side has so much history and things like that, you know. And when I started learning the history, it kind of took on with my identity as being an entrepreneur. You know, I started doing art, and you know, in the Black community, you know, when you're an artist, you know, not too many people back then were successful at being an artist. So, you know, it was like a hobby thing. So people would tell you to get a job and stuff like that. But I happened to learn how to monetize it just, you know, as a hobby, because I would paint and create these clothes for me, and I would go to school.
Right.
And my friends and stuff would say, "Where you get that from?" And I'm like, "Oh, I made it." You know, and they'd be like, "Oh, make me one," you know. And the entrepreneur spirit in me was like, "Okay, well, I charge X, Y, and Z."
Right.
You know, and then I started doing it, and I got known for it, and I started making money from it. You know what I mean? So.
And it started young in like high school?
Yeah, like high school, like 9th grade, you know?
Okay.
So it was like, it was a great thing. And even being in the youth program, you know, MFI, I ended up starting to do, it kind of gave me customers, and then I started doing the uniforms and stuff.
That's what I was going to ask. So you were the one who did the uniforms?
I remember I did 200 hand-painted T-shirts overnight for the parade.
You know what?
I was delirious, and then I had to step the next day at the parade,
sir.
But it was,
sir.
It was just, you know, it was a great moment for me because I felt like I could do anything. You know, that was a small moment when I was like, I can do it. I'm gonna do it. You know, because something happened with the uniforms and stuff. So I'm like, oh no, I got this. We're gonna go get some shirts from the swap meet and
call it a day.
And we going.
Say, come on, man. That's a great way to how you start that. So how did you take those skill sets to be to create Artism and to buying a ranch? Like because then your brand too with the ice cream, and like I love. By the way, I gotta buy one.
Nah,
so that's why I gotta buy some.
Pack.
How did you go from that? Because I seen the portraits the canvases that you paint for the artists. How did you go from high school, from doing that, from the youth group to the homies, now all the way up to this big scale?
So I took I left Vegas and I went to Atlanta for like 6 months. You know, I was just like, I'm up and go. So I went out there and I met the owner of the Velvet Room. His name was Alex, which he owns a lot of clubs out there now. And he was like, I made a shirt that said, "Shawty, what you drink?" on it. And he was like, can you paint that on my wall? Yeah. So I ended up painting that on the wall. And while I'm painting, he's talking to me. He like, man, you know, even though you getting $100 a shirt out here, you know, because all the D-boys would buy all the shirts from me out there.
Right.
He was like, man, you could be doing this on canvas and getting quadruple and building your legacy. And that sparked me. So when I got back to Vegas, I'm like, man, let me research canvases and materials to use. Let me start. So I started taking it serious and started doing it on canvas. And I remember doing a show at UNLV and sold everything. And that right there was like, man, this is what I need to be doing, and so everything, so many opportunities. So everything. And after that, I started getting with Weekly, started doing, you know, public art, you know, getting into all the different facets of art. And then from there, I'm like, you know, hey, you know, I want to make this cool. Right. You know what I mean? Like, I want to make this cool. I'm like, I went from making painting on a pro club to being cool. Why can't I do this? And you know, bring it to the world. And then once I started traveling, I started seeing how art connects everything. You know, it became a great tool for me because it helped me build relationships with celebrities, millionaires, you know, people who own stores. I got to pick their brain, and, you know, I'm a sponge. So I sit and I listen to successful people, and I take what they have and mixing with what I've learned along the way and stuff. And then, you know, I just, you know, as far as, you know, real estate, you know, buying land and things like that, you know, I've always, coming from Louisiana, my family always had land, but, you know, I feel like it's always, you know, a deeper conversation is always to learn more and get into different facets of owning land and property and things like that. And which I feel like is important in our community to, you know, put in our kids' mind, you know, our adults' mind, all of that. So that just led me to meeting so many different celebrities. When I moved to Houston, I started not only traveling, I started by, getting places to live, setting up shop, painting, reaching these people, building a network within these different places to where, when I come back to Vegas, they come here, it just builds a great network.
Building that great networks, man. Okay. So then how did you get yourself from art to owning a ranch? Like, which is not common which is dope, but it's not common for folks to really like, I'm gonna buy a ranch. Because most folks, I've been to a ranch. I've had to, like, being a city boy and going to Athens, Georgia, where my family owns land, and I had to wake up early and make sure the pigs was all good over here, the chickens was good over here. Oh, we got to go slaughter this over here. I'm like, y'all slaughter? This what it look like? Oh no! Yeah. So how did you go from being a city boy to the ranch?
When I me and my business partner, we opened Artism. Artism was basically me coming back to Vegas. I'm like, I want to do something that keeps me in Vegas, because I felt like I had an obligation to bring what I've known, my knowledge, and the money I've accumulated to invest back in my community, every way I can. So I'm like, I was talking to him, and he was telling me about mental health, right. and creating facilities and stuff. And I'm like, I have a friend named Danny who I've been friends with for 10 years. He does videos and things like that. So he came to my art studio, and we were talking about a project when I came back to Vegas. Right. And his daughter is autistic. So when she came in, I'm like, let me set up something for her so she's not bored, Yeah. So I set up a paint thing for her, easel and everything, and she was painting. We talking like this. Right. And he just stops. He's like, man, I ain't never seen her that quiet, Yeah. So when that happened, it just sparked something for me, and I got with my friend. I'm like, yeah, let's do this. And I came up with, this thing called Artism, and the logo was colorful and and then it just spiraled out into something quick, It just took a life of its own.
I remember when our old advisor Tasha, she texted all of us like, look what Courtney's doing. I was like, what? It was like, I'm like, yo, y'all just doing that? Like, the first thing he's doing Artism? I was like, when I tell you, I remember it hit, everyone was like loving it. Like, how has Artism, how has it impacted you?
Well, it impacted me tremendously, and that's the universe leads you to these moments and these things, to grow you. You know what I mean? And you become, you become a monumental person in other people's lives because the universe is leading you. So right. I was able to, not only create jobs, but also take an approach that nobody ever took. Nobody used art therapy for autistic kids or, anything like that. So putting it together, seeing the kids come in, providing something in the community for, the autistic community. Right. I learned so much. I learned so much about, the whole community of parents who have autistic kids, and from the developing autistic kid, bullying, right. and being autistic, and I just learned so much to where now I'm immersed in it. And I just had a meeting with Ray J because he wants to come on, so it's creating a product, that I can talk about it. It's right. It's noise canceling headphones for autistic. Oh yeah. So,
okay. Yeah, I have heard of that. Okay.
So I'm going with partnering with Raycon to create these headphones for autistic kids. So,
you see how humble Yards was. He was like, yeah, I just had a meeting with Ray J, and we're gonna do this with Rayquan Beats. Honestly, first of all, I definitely know about because I seen him talk about that the last episode he was on with the Breakfast Club. I saw that. So man, man, give this man a round of applause, man. Yeah. And that's a true testament of like that magic that you bring to it. That's a part of your recipe, right?
Definitely.
So can you think of a time, right, that you planned something and it didn't go accordingly? Like, how did you make it work?
Well, leading up to me getting a ranch, right. In Arizona, we have a facility, and we do a therapy where we go out to this ranch. And when I was on the ranch, it was just, it was all these different moments. You know, I went to the ranch, and then Jay Prince invited me out to his ranch.
Right.
So I was out there with Mac, and that changed everything. You know, talking to Jay, riding around the ranch. You know, he got a 3,000 acre ranch, and you know, he did all of this back in the day. You know, and it just, I went and bought my ranch probably 5 months later.
I seen you did a few pieces for Jay Prince, right?
Yeah,
man.
Yeah, Jay is just a blessing, honestly. You know, to see, you know, his story and, you know, where he's at, you know, and how many generations he's been in economics, you know, empowerment, and it's just a great story. And so when I got the ranch, you know, I first got it, I'm like, you know, what now? You know, I'm like, I got it. So, you know, I'm like, okay, so I'm gonna do this. You know, the ranch came with like probably 200 cows.
Right.
So I'm just like, you know, she just left the cows. I don't know what to do with cows and stuff. So I'm freaking out, you know, and I'm like, okay, this is what I'm gonna plan. I'm gonna set it up. You know, I'm researching. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna set up this elaborate run, you know, for the cows to go here, go there. And I end up closing off the wrong gate, and people didn't tell me that, you know, once you lead the cows one way, they don't stop.
Right.
You know? So I see all these cows. I close it off to where I'm facing the cows, and they all running towards me. So I have to turn around and run. I'm just in a panic. So that right there was not the smartest thing.
That's the smartest thing.
Nah.
First of all, you had 200. First of all, sorry. This man had 200 cows after him. We city boys. We don't have cows out here like that.
No,
so what'd you do? So how did you be able to get out of that?
What I did was they ended up just overpowering me. I got out the way, and they was stuck on the land. So I went and found somebody that knows about cows in the city, and he ended up becoming my ranch hand. So he take care of my ranch and everything. You know,
come on,
got him on payroll. So it's great to be able to go to a city and, you know, just share things with them, you know,
right.
just, you know, talk to people who live a different life than being in the city, and it just slows you down. It gives you, you know, coming from the city, it gives you that humbleness. It gives you a different type of knowledge, you know, even a different type of economic, you know, like even with my ranch, I'm basically, I after spending so much time out there, it allowed me to really just imagine and see how I can even make having a ranch cool.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like being on a ranch and
real talk, you do make it look good. I'm not, obviously, like, cause when I first saw that you had a ranch, I said, I don't know nobody else. Like, we know a lot of people. I don't know nobody who really own a ranch and make it look nice. I've been on a ranch. It don't smell appealing.
Man.
Like if you have all those animals, you know it don't smell appealing, but you make it look good.
Yeah, it's dope because, you know, coming out there, you know, I'm building my first structure, and I got 210 acres. So
come on,
it's like a blank canvas to me,
right?
Know? So I get to create what I want to create, you know, and you know, it's just like, it's a beautiful thing to go out there and understand that, you know, like you said, you know, this was some of my ancestors, you know, probably worked on that land, you know. Right. So to be, you know, black and owning it, you know,
it hit different.
Different, way different, man.
It's different.
Like, you know, just even seeing how the people looking at you, you know, when they come around, they like, and like, I guess I'm the first person to take a tank, which a tank is what the livestock drink out of.
Right. And
I dug it deeper, and I'm actually building my house on the tank.
Come on.
Where it's the house, the living quarters, and then it's a bridge that goes to my art studio. So it's just,
come on, man.
It's like having your own, dream world that you can just go create and build a place to, you know, get away for peace. And like I said, I'm building it so, you know, my loved ones and people could go out there and get their serenity and, you know, come back to the city refreshed, you know, without having to take an expensive vacation somewhere and, you know, do the most.
How's looking at the stars up there?
Oh, man, you can see everything.
See everything.
Everything, man.
That's one of the main things I ask people. Like, if you ever go to the country, look up.
Everything. No lights to
this. Yep.
You can see everything. So that's what I'm looking forward to all of that. You know, I'm probably like 80% done with first structure, and It's gonna be beautiful.
I'm happy for you, man.
Thank you.
Like, what are some things you experienced that could have worked out in theory, but did not go that way in practice when it came to both Artism and the ranch?
I mean, you know, any business you build, I think, you know, what we imagine is one thing and what's doable is another thing. Right. So, when I first, you know, building Artism, you have to be careful because it's a sensitive community. Like, it's different things you can say, it's different things you can do, you know. So I had to learn, you know, you can't say, you can't put the autism before the kid. It's the kid and then it's autism, or you can't call it, you know, disability because it's a different ability, right? You know, because these kids are, you know, I've watched these, as being an artist and watching these kids create art, it's like, you know, this is genius. You know, this is not what somebody that may not do art and don't understand the process think is just not regular. This is genius, you know? And it's those moments of, you know, watching mothers cry because their kid is sitting down for the first time and everybody is telling them that their kid is an artistic genius. You know, right. I could show some of the artwork and pictures that these kids created. That's like, you know, and like creating it is like, you ever seen X-Men?
Yeah, of course.
So that was my vision. It's like, you know, that's my bigger vision.
Yo, that's okay. I love that. Special need for special get the kids.
Exactly. Man. He brought in. He made a home for mutants that come in that the world looking at as different. He taught them how to harness their gift and use their gift. Right. And to create a place where they all could bond and be, you know what I mean? Right. Bond with each other. So that's my ultimate plan, is to add music, add tech, add architect, add sports, all these different things, because we all have different gifts, you know, to be harnessed. And that's what my vision was, as, you know, how Xavier was able to, you know, let the world know these people are special. You know, they're not, you know, to be shunned.
Yeah, exactly. And see, I think that's a great way to break that down, especially for the folks who are going to be watching and listening, because even thinking about mutants in the X-Men world and how they view it, that's the same way we view special needs kids.
Exactly.
Like, it's always like you got folks who are very like inclusive, or you got folks who are very like, I don't know how to operate. It's like, yo, they're just regular folks. They're just different, just like anybody else.
Exactly.
So, man, I applaud you, man. We gotta get this man his flowers today. We gotta get this man. But you know, actually, before you know, I really give you your flowers, I gotta do this to you, bro. I'm sorry. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
You ready? Yeah. We're gonna put this man in the hot seat, ladies and gentlemen. So in this segment here, we provide in-depth questions to learn more about you as a guest. And really, these questions used to be super fast, but now we ask deeper questions to really get to the root.
That's dope.
Okay? So we want to really ask these questions, and I hope that they're not cool. I'm not gonna kill you, I promise.
No, go ahead.
Right. So why is special needs still a taboo topic to discuss in the Black community?
It's taboo because, as you know, we always say that, oh, that kid bad, or you know, even, you know, making light of real conversations. You know what I mean? You know, using the word retarded. You know, different things like that. We don't take too much serious. You know, so I think it's taboo. But you know, people like, you know, like us, we understand it, and we're trying to change that whole, you know, language. We're trying to change that whole attention. We're trying to change all of that, you know, and that's when we first opened the facility. We went into you know, like a hood area, but it was on the east side where the, you know, Hispanics and stuff like that, and that was the number one thing. That's why we was going nonprofit, because people would come in and couldn't afford the services, and we just did it. Right. You know, you can't, it's hard for you to just say no, you know, you can't. So we just did it, you know, and like I say, it's all rewarding. So
see, man, come on now. So why, speaking on that, and then also going into investing, why is it hard to really talk to the Black community about investing? Not only just talk about, but actually inspire our community to actually invest?
Well, I think what it is you know the I syndrome. You know, the me. You know, everybody, you know, in the Black community wants to be that person. You know, they want to be. They don't understand that most things that we look at and we look up to, as far as big deals and stuff, is not one person. It's a group. You know, it's a group of people that did it. You know, and some people in those groups, they care about the outcome. They don't care about the stardom. You know, they pick the person that best represents what they're doing. Right. You know, and they don't let their ego get in the way of saying, oh, I own this, or I did this, I did that. You know, I think we have to learn some adequacy, and we have to have a code of conduct when we're doing investing in business and things like that, and just, you know, sharing the knowledge. You know, a lot of us get the information and we want to keep it to ourselves, and we act like we're afraid to give this information to other people to be successful. You know, and no, you can't give it to everybody because, you know, it's time consuming, but, you know, like it's, you know, who's serious, you know, who's going to take that knowledge and put it to work
and actually,
you know?
Really do it the right thing with it too, because what they say, once you know something, you're responsible for it.
Exactly.
And so giving it and a lot of times folks do that. We take in information and it's like, oh well, I'm not going to help this person get the leg up, and it's like, why not? That's our due diligence. Like, unfortunately, we were born selfish beings.
Yes.
But to do selfless acts is the best thing you can do, because it's going to come back to you 20 times fold.
That's it. You know, and it's a great thing. And like I say, you know, it's just, you know, it's certain things that needs to be laid out in our community and addressed, and it needs to be addressed as a whole. You know, it's just us reaching, you know, like having a podcast and stuff like this. These are tools that reach the masses. You know what I mean? And we get to talk to our people, and we get to get in their ear, you know, without them having to stop what they're doing to come to you. Sometimes our people can be lazy, you know, and even, you know, I tell people all the time, you know, it's a formula to everything. And with our people special. Sometimes you have to sit our people down and walk them through to let them know that it's just that easy. Yeah. Or it could be done, you know?
I think most times people think too much.
Yeah.
Instead of just being like, all right, let's just do it.
Yeah.
And if people are so afraid of failure, they're not willing to learn the process.
Exactly. And that's what you just said is the one thing is a lot of things people want to do, they see as impossible. Yeah. And, you know, and it takes getting with somebody that sees, that has vision to say, nah, that's easy. You need to do X, Y, and Z. Come on, we're gonna go do this.
And knowing that it's not a timestamp.
Exactly.
Like, it's okay. But we like to put timestamps on things, which is why we disappoint ourselves. Yeah. We do that with relationships, and we wonder why it don't work. But anyway. But like, what challenges what are the challenges in investing in 2022?
I think the challenges are that there's so many investments out there. And I think the key thing is to find something that excites you. Don't go jump into something because somebody said they made a lot of money from it. Please. I think you got to find what excites you, you know?
Okay, cool. Thank you. Yes. Yes.
So once you do that, it's, you know, and that's why I always talk about group economics and having business partners and stuff like that, because it makes the journey exciting. When you don't have the motivation and excitement, your business partner may have it, or the group may have it. You know what I mean? And if you don't have this information, the group may have it. It keeps that fire alive. You know, it keeps it going. Versus, you know, as one human, we fluctuate.
Yeah,
you know?
That's true.
So I think that's a very important thing. You know, finding the right individuals who, you know, it's a brother named Chase McCurdy.
Yeah, Chase, that's my boy. Huge shout out to Chase. We got to get him on here too.
My guy.
I love Chase. He's super dope.
That's my guy. We putting something together that's gonna be beautiful for the city. When it comes to art, you know.
Chase is one of the most humble cats, and I need to go to his studio too. He's invited me. I had to get a chance to go when he invited me because I was out of town, but I gotta go. I'm gonna text him after this episode now.
And he always says, you know, I always say like-minded people. He said, no, it's like-spirited people, because it starts in the spirit and then you connect in the mind.
Amen. Man, come on. You see this man right here blessing us with these gems. You actually answered the next question I was going to ask about that is with group economics. So you hit it on the mark. The next question I have for you, which is essentially two last questions. What are the most common misconceptions about autism?
I think the misconceptions are that number one, I think when we first opened it, a lot of mainstream people was shocked that it was two black men doing it first.
That's crazy.
I think the second thing is, when you're doing art therapy, it's not a class. It's a release. So you're not bringing your child to learn how to paint. You're bringing your child to express themselves, and you bringing them. It's giving a new option, because autism is still in the early developments. Where people are trying to find different things for, to help the community. So I think it's one of those things where you have to bring your child to experience and see, is this something that's
gonna
for
work
him,
for him or her?
Exactly, for him or her. And the crazy thing is, I noticed that I had more guy patients, male patients, because autism in girls is very less.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't, and that was shocking to me. Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Very, major. I can't really think of the percentages, but very low.
Wow. Okay. So, that goes into the last question. What resources are available for people with autism or parents of autism? Because I didn't even know that.
Well, it's something that's out there. It's Granted Gift. Autism Speaks, and what we trying to do is we trying to open up the doors, as far as it's so many facets to it, and a lot of people are just following the same popular facets,
right?
And it's things like counseling for parents, because that becomes the rate of divorce is, two parents are one having doubt or being ashamed,
right,
and not being able to go together. So we even trying to do things like give other people ideas of businesses to start to help that the autistic community. Like daycares don't take autistic kids because they don't have nobody there to.
That is true. I didn't know that.
Or if you have the training, then you could create a daycare for autistic kids, and which is important, because that's what we were trying to do, is have a place where mothers could drop their kids off and go shop, because sometimes having an autistic kid, you can't even go out and do the simple things because they may have an episode in public.
Yeah, that's true.
Just even simple things like that, So it's so many different resources that's out there, but it's so many that's needed.
I hope people take from this episode is the need of, there's a niche, right?
Yes.
There's a niche market for kids who have autism or special needs in general. I think a lot of folks just can't handle the pressure. It's a lot.
Yeah, it is.
I come from a marriage and family therapy program background, and one of the big things they talk about is self-care. This is not easy.
No,
it's not an easy thing. You have to make sure you keep a balance, and no one's perfect. We're all human, but if you decide to work with special needs youth or youth needs adults, please come with a genuine heart.
Exactly.
It's not something that you take lightly. Exactly. It's something you really take serious. So I commend, man. You made it through the hot seat, but I just need to commend you, bro, because what you're doing with Artism, what you decided to do in someone who wasn't personally impactful, you selflessly did this with you and your business partner. Come on,
awesome.
Come on.
Thank you, appreciate it.
So, because now we got to get into your sauce.
You don't got no sauce, then you get lost.
Because you get lost in your sauce, dog.
You get lost in the sauce.
So in this segment, it gives us more insight on our guests, where we ask, what's your special ingredient for your business, right? You tell us why nobody can replicate what you do. So, good sir, tell us, what makes Artism a business nobody can duplicate what you do?
I think what makes it is, the creativity part about it, that's always my attitude towards any business is, I want to make this cool, Like, I didn't want the facility to look like kids coming into a doctor's office, or just a traditional art gallery or art studio. I wanted to be something that you walk in and you're like, what's this,
Right.
Like this feels good, feels fun. So I think that's, more important. I have a great eye for creativity. I have a great eye for just, you know, taking the environment and turning it into something that puts the energy into it, you know?
Right.
So I think that's the key thing, you know, to the whole formula. And just, you know, I'm just I do a lot of research, you know, like I always see what people don't see, you know, things that's the underlying thing, you know? So I think that's what it is. And you know, when we opened, COVID hit, we wasn't able to really get that full,
right.
You know, but it still worked. You know, we even opened up a door where we were doing teletherapy.
Ooh,
where
okay.
we were painting and assessing kids from home, which also opened the door for the parent to bond with the kid.
See, come on, man. So
it's forever. You know, when you're in business, you know, you sometimes when you think it's a problem, it runs you into a better solution.
It does. But that's a part of the journey and the process, like that people don't have the time and the patience for. We talked about earlier, right?
Oh.
So what's your secret ingredient that helps continue flourish, like with Artism, with your investments, with the ranch? What's your special ingredient that really makes you keep going?
I tell people my real talent is my patience.
I see it.
That's my real talent. I'm able to be calm in situations that people may not be able to be calm in. You know, I'm able to see it through for good or bad, you know. And the other thing is just, you know, I feel like I have a duty, you know, being African American, you know, I have a duty to, you know, to be successful and for people to, you know, look up to me and understand that, you know, I come from the West Side, you know.
Yeah.
I could have been, you know, I was around gangs and all of that, you know, so I could have went a whole nother way.
Right.
You know, so I think that's my big drive and my big obligation is to, you know, let people know, you know, I'm human. Right. You know, I did this out of sheer will, you know, the will to win, you know, and for, you know, a bigger cause, you know, it's, you know, you have your spoils, you know, you get things you want, you know, but most of it is, you know, creating jobs, creating opportunities, creating, you know, sparking somebody else fire in them to go and do it, you know. I think that's the big, you know, drive.
Thank you for giving us your
sauce. You're lost.
Yeah, lost in it, ladies and gentlemen. And like, I just want to thank you, man. You've really touched, like you touched me in this episode. Like I've already known you, but the fact of what you do just inspired me. And I want to go ahead and toast to you during our last segment, which is the happy hour, ladies and gentlemen. And we got a gift for you. On the courteous of the Business Information Buffet Podcast.
Oh man,
it's for you.
Appreciate it.
It's for you, man.
I'm gonna wear it on the plane.
Hey man, enjoy that thing. So in this segment, this is where we're between the host and the guest, where we ask like a toast of success. What's going on great, big or small? So tell us, what's something that's going on great for your business that's worth celebrating?
Just, you know, the leverage of autism.
Right.
You know, autism, just putting it in different places and needed in different cities, just, you know, scaling it. And for my ranch, you know, I have my other brand, Sweet Taste of Success.
Sweet Taste of Success, yes, sir.
It's in Suite 160 in the Mandalay Bay. I'm gonna launch my online this year finally.
Come on, finally.
Yeah.
Finally, I've been waiting. Because I was like, what do I buy? I was like, oh.
I just wanted to keep it exclusive.
I respect that.
A while, you know, build me a good fan base. You know, I got my regular people that even come to Vegas and go in Suite 160 and buy everything.
Just buy everything.
So yeah. It's dope. So now it's time to, you know, really just take it to the world. So that I finally got my logo for my ranch.
Come on now.
I'm finna really take the ranch.
Ooh, Heyward Ranch, ladies and gentlemen.
To another level, you know.
Let's go. Let's show it.
Premium hay.
Come on, let's go ahead and take a toast to my man's right here. All the success and many blessings to you.
Yes.
Man, I can't wait to see that. We got to get out to the ranch. I know you were telling us.
Definitely do, you know, and that's another thing I want to do too is, you know, fly people from Vegas out there, you know, and, you know, just be able to have a conversation, just, you know, it's like I say, going to Jay Prince Ranch, it sparked something to me. You know, like I didn't want to go buy no cars, no this, that. I wanted that ranch. You know, just the serenity of it. So I want to be able to share that on mine.
Come on, man. Go ahead and please drop all your social handles where people can find you, sir.
My personal is Mr. Black Card Yards, and my business is A Sweet Taste of Success and Black Card Art _
Man, thank you so much, Yards. I deeply appreciate you coming on the Business Information Buffet podcast where everybody eats. And I share the sentiments because you're someone who really wants everyone to eat. I see you out here giving to New Era. I see all the things you do.
Shout out to Stretch.
Yeah, shout out to Stretch, man. Shout out to Stretch and New Era. Shout out to them. They just got the proclamation from the city, from the county. Well deserved. They've been out, man. I remember when everyone was at home, we was outside. We was out there with Stretch in the heat.
Yeah, it was hot.
It was hot, boy, but we was out there with bro. I'm glad to see you still out there because most times, like now, I'm doing this, so I can't. Yeah. But on the back end, I donate a bunch of food to them. Like that's
important. All of it is important. You know, everybody plays a role.
Exactly.
So it all counts.
So, man, many blessings to you. Thank you for joining the podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Courtney Yards of Haywood. This is Sean Tory with our DJ Icebreak.
DJ Icebreak.
And this is a Business Information Buffet podcast where everybody eats. Now, everyone will see you next time.